So, I want to teach you about a very useful technique known as the Lazarus technique. The Lazarus technique is used to get to the root of a particular problem. It might be in your professional life, it might be in your personal life. This particular technique will enable you, will help you to understand what is that root of a particular problem, which you are normally, you are unable to find and figure out. So let's again, take you, I want to, discuss with you something related to this particular technique. Why is it important that we need to understand or we need to get to the root whenever we are trying to understand and analyze about the possibility of a particular reason why a particular problem is arising or why a particular problem is persisting. All right. So if we want to get to a permanent and sustainable solution to a problem, we firstly need to get to the root of that particular specific problem. So I'm sure you must have heard that get to the root of it. Might be somebody else have told you that you need to get to the root of your problems. Might be you have used this phrase for someone else. You are telling someone, you are communicating to someone that please try to get to the root of it. Try to get to the root of the problem. All right. So I'm sure you are aware of this particular phrase, that is getting to the root of it, or getting to the root of a particular problem. This statement or this particular phrase, that getting to the root of it, it simply implies that an individual is asking and advising a person to find and figure out the root of a specific problem, that is in order to learn about the proper solution of that particular problem. So that is the reason why people use this particular statement, that go to the root of it. The usage of this particular statement is quite wide and it is quite holistic. People from every sphere of life and profession has learned the requirement and necessity to get to the root of their problem. Many a times, the efficiency and the effectiveness of professionals has been calculated, has been understood, has been measured based on the ability or inability of that particular person to get to the root of any specific problem. So the importance of quickly getting to the root of any problem, it arises because of the importance of to calm and nullify an emotional storm which occurs in most humans' mind. So if I want to relate it to an aspect of mental health. So whenever a particular person is stuck in a particular problem, obviously their emotional, their mental health gets a bit, aggregated. It gets a bit imbalanced because obviously they are currently facing a problem and their mind is continuously working to find the solution of that particular problem which they are facing. And the most sustainable and permanent way to get or to achieve a solution of a particular problem is when you are able to get or go to the root of that particular problem. The intensity of an individual's emotional and mental storm, that is created because of the problem that they have got themselves into, it is directly proportional to the intensity, or sorry, to the seriousness of the problem. So the more serious the problem, the more intense the emotional mental storm of that particular person will be. Thus, whenever most people they get stuck or they get lost, they feel stuck, they feel lost in their professional or personal problems, it is initially quite challenging for them to learn and understand about a viable solution to their specific problem. It is because of their emotional and mental storm, such people will tend to further complicate their difficulties by linking unnecessary and irrational reason to the cause of their ongoing problems. So instead of being able to figure out the real and the root cause of their problems, many will just beat around the bush for days and months, unable to understand, unable to figure out what is the solution to that particular problem which they are currently facing. What is the solution to that particular problem which is taking an emotional, mental toll in their life? So, so you have to understand that getting to the root of a particular problem or understanding the root cause of a particular problem will eventually make that particular person understand what will be the best solution to overcome that particular problem. So it is also been seen and understood that many empowered individuals, that is with strong emotional mental health, they are also unaware about the proper process, that is which can enable them to quickly get to the root of a particular problem, whether it is a professional problem or whether it is a personal problem. It is also very important for mental health professionals, that is to have a knowledge and follow an effective and proven technique which they can use during their counseling, right? Which will enable them again to get to the root of a particular problem. That most probably, that is, I'm referring to whatever problems their clients are facing. You can understand the root cause of it, if that is, if you, in case you are a mental health professional, if you are aware about a proper effective technique which can enable you to figure and find out the root cause of a particular problem, and that too in a very quick amount of time. So with that being said, I have laid down the foundation, that is which I'm sure will enable you to understand the requirement of figuring out and finding out a particular process, a technique which can in turn enable a particular person to get to the root of their various life's problem, and that too in a quick and in a very easy way. So again, it how much quick it is, how much easy it is, it will depend on practice, that how much good you will get using this particular technique. Obviously, if you are using this particular technique, that is which I am about to teach you right now, if you are using it for the first time, obviously you will not be, it will not be that much simple and easy and effective for you. With practice, you will be more proficient in using this particular Lazarus technique. So I will give you some kind of a overview of what Lazarus techniques offers and what it exactly is. The Lazarus technique offers a very simple and effective way to get to the root of any person's problems. The Lazarus technique involves asking the individual to use just one word to define their problem. So this is the crux. This is the bottom line of what the Lazarus technique is all about. It The Lazarus techniques, or using the Lazarus technique, a counselor or a particular person, encourages the other person, that is who is trying to figure out the real reason of the problem that they are facing. How it is used is that particular counselor, I'm referring to counselor over here so that it will be easier for me to make you understand. A counselor will ask that individual to use just one word to define their problem. It might sound a bit airy fairy to you. It might sound that it is very unrealistic. That is, if a particular person is facing a lot of complications, a lot of difficult problems, how is it possible that the same individual will use just one word to define their problems? This is what the Lazarus technique is all about. You have to use it, you have to practice it. Even though if you are not a mental health professional, you have to practice it in your day-to-day life. Whenever you come across a particular person who you think is trying to figure and find out the root cause of their particular problem, it might not be even the root cause according to them, but you know that a particular individual, if he or she is trying to figure out at least the reason of their ongoing problems, you know that they need to go to the root of it. And for that, you will use the Lazarus technique. You will teach them, you will enable them, you will encourage them in a kind of a discussion where you will take that, or you will, counsel another person, that is with whom you are interacting with, that is through this Lazarus technique. So you have to understand, the Lazarus technique is all about creating simplicity. Further questioning techniques can be used along with the Lazarus technique, but it is the Lazarus technique that has been found. It is very, very effective and efficient. All right. Again, I'm repeating the same thing. That is in order to go to the root of a particular problem. Here a lot of, so if you are telling that individual with whom you are interacting with that please define your problem in one particular word, in just one word you define it, that is a start of that particular process. And what you will do afterwards, I will teach you. But just when you tell that individual, just use one word, whatever you are facing an issue with, whatever problem that you are currently having in your life, just use one word to describe. You are enabling the other person to go or do their own brainstorming, right? They are also going into their mind to try to figure out the actual reasons of why the problem is actually occurring, right? They will not beat around the bush. They will not suffer from false perception, which usually makes a person arrive at all sort of nonsensical reasons of their ongoing current problems. It happens. So this is where the Lazarus techniques' practicality lies. So how you will practice it, let me tell you, all right? Let me unfold to you. First of all, the Lazarus technique should be practiced between only two individuals. The first individual being the person who needs to get to the root of their particular problem. That is, suppose it is referred to as the client. The second individual being the practitioner of Lazarus technique. So now you are learning it. So you can call yourself a practitioner of a Lazarus technique. So even though you have not practiced it, but you will be the practitioner of Lazarus technique. I'm encouraging you to be a practitioner of Lazarus technique. Your efficiency and effectiveness in helping others, counseling others will increase if you actually learn this and practice this. So the other person is the client with whom you're interacting, and you will be the enabler. That is the individual using the Lazarus technique will be enabling their client to get to the root of their problem. All right. How you will practice it? So whenever you will come across any person, it might be your family member also, all right, friends, your professional network, your personal network, your social network, etc., who a particular person who is fully immersed in their own specific problem. What you need to do now? Now you're aware of it. Now you came across that particular person. Firstly, initiate a helpful conversation with them. This is the first thing that you need to do. You just cannot walk up to them and tell them, okay, now you use one word to describe your problem. First, initiate that, or initiate a conversation first. This is what a counselor initially needs to do. Then once you got their full attention, all right, or at least you have got their good attention, then you ask them to use just one word to define their problem or problems. You can enable them. Then you can enable them to get to the root of their problem. Slowly and slowly they're getting to the root of their problem. How they have started it? They have started it using one particular word to describe their problem. Further questioning that you can use in order to enable them to get to the root of their problem. What are these further questioning? You can use the following phrases to encourage them, that is your client, to be more specific about their problems. That first you are encouraging them that in just one word describe your problem. Then you have to do is you can tell them, now in just one phrase describe your problem. Then you can tell them, now in just one sentence describe your problem. Eventually you can tell them, now you use just one paragraph to describe your problem. So this is in this particular way, in this particular process, using the Lazarus technique, you will definitely enable individuals in finding the real root cause of their various problems. And believe me, you will get a popularity of enabling people to really help them find the solutions to their problems, which initially they were finding it quite difficult. They were going here, there, but they were not able to find out what actually it is, what actually is the reason. So in a way, you are also enabling people towards a stronger emotional and mental health. So just for your knowledge, the Lazarus technique, the creator of the Lazarus technique is Arnold Lazarus. So this is for your, general knowledge. So I want to conclude this video with a quote of Arnold Lazarus. He said that we, like all the therapists, we firmly believe that therapy and professional helping must be about educating, enlightening, and never about healing the sick. Human growth is far greater than medicinal treatment. So again, he was a complete follower of therapeutic approaches towards enabling people towards a stronger emotional mental health. And this is a very famous quote of Arnold Lazarus that in the world of psychology, it is very much talked about. It is very much out there. So this is what I wanted to discuss about the very, very highly efficient and highly effective technique known as the Lazarus technique. And also don't be demotivated if using it for the first one or two times you find that no, it is not helping at all. It is not at all effective. It is not at all practical. You will get proficient with it. You will get the benefits of using a Lazarus technique. You will enable others to get the benefit of through this Lazarus technique only when you practice it multiple number of times, innumerable number of times with multiple person. You are encouraging them in this particular in this particular process. All right, a dialogue process or a communication process, a therapeutic process. So again, practice it, and one point of time you will realize that yes, it is actually helping. Even though it is quite, it is quite laid out, it is quite, it is very much, uh, how you will, it is quite frameworked, right? It's a very proper, and it's a very, uh, how will I say it? It's a very organized frame that you are first of all encouraging the other person to use one word, then one phrase, then one sentence, one paragraph. But how you're using it, how you're communicating with the other person, how you're making the other person follow or think whenever you are encouraging them to use a particular, that use these phrases, use this word, sentence, paragraph to describe their problem, how you are taking up this entire process of Lazarus technique, the efficiency, the effectiveness, the smoothness, all of these will only get sharper and sharper the more you practice. And it is the more you practice, the better you will get at it. All right, so this is what I wanted to tell you. So thank you, and I wish you well. Have a nice day, be happy, and stay healthy.